Okay, it's 7:30 and Diane Hewitt, call the Lisle Township meeting to order. What we're going to do is start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which is right behind me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
and
liberty and justice for all.
Great, and then we'll have Clerk Polowitz start with the roll call. Clerk Polowitz.
There we go. It's not moving as smoothly as it should. Trustee Geis,
Here.
Trustee Page,
Here.
Trustee Rose,
Here.
Supervisor Hewitt,
Here.
Highway Commissioner Young,
Here.
and Assessor Trowbridge.
Here.
Okay, so
Trustee McGovern is just signing on.
oh, okay.
And we'll give it a moment for Trustee McGovern to sign on.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Ken,
Okey doke. Then we'll go to the public comment for this meeting. And let me just share my screen. Okay. And we have 0 responses for public comment. And does anybody in the audience want to make public comment right now? Okay, then we'll move on to the fiscal year 2023 road district budget, and Ed can share the screen.
Not sure I know how to do that. I sent out the budget to all of you, and it's a rather hefty increase, as I described in my note. I hope to be able to get the staff up to full capacity before that new fiscal year begins. Right now, we're down by 1, and also I factored in significant pay raises as I anticipate inflation to come roaring back. I think today the CPI was increased by 7%. We expect it to continue to go higher. So I think we're going to have to face some significant wage increases in the next fiscal year. I've also included in the budget part-time help. And I've done this in the past and haven't been able to follow through with it. I want to get my GIS system finally completed. We've got a lot of it done, but there's much more to do. We have most of the signs in, we have many of the culverts in, but not all of the culverts. I'd like to get all the culverts in, as well as all the storm sewers. We have many of the storm sewers, but some that's in private yards has not been.
I think you're frozen, Ed.
Pardon me?
yeah,
Did somebody say
I'm
something?
good. I hear him.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear him too.
Thank you. So that's the reasons for the labor increase. For the capital piece into it, I submitted 3 or 4 projects, and I'm working on like a 3-year schedule. As I mentioned before, when we bought the last truck, we had to order it 2 years in advance to get it from the time we ordered until we took delivery. So I'm going to have to sit down and lay out for all of the capital equipment that we have a rotating schedule of when we expect to replace it. Also, I put on the capital expenditure, it's got to happen within the next couple of years, is the fuel tank replacements. The fuel tanks are the original ones installed in the building when the building was built, or so installed next to the building. And that was 38 years ago. Normal life is between 35 and 40 years for those type of tanks. And if you recall, Lisle is going through the same process as they have the same problem. And we have had some sort of discussion, a minor discussion, is perhaps we can jointly find one spot where we both could use the fuel tanks. That would be beneficial if we could find one that would be commonly located and we both would have access to it. And the fire department has begun to participate in those discussions as well. The other large increase in the budget is for paving. We've gotten notifications from all the local paving companies that they are requesting to put escalation clauses in any bids, as they expect the price of oil and the price of labor to significantly increase the prices for any paving projects they're going to do in the next fiscal year. So that's why that's increases. And that's, if anybody has any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And if anybody wants to come into the office and go through this line by line, I'd be happy to accommodate that. And I'll turn it over to the rest of you if you have any questions.
I do have a few questions, but I think it would be a good idea to go through a couple line items in the office, if that was okay with you.
Oh, that'd be fine. Just,
Okay.
I'm in most days. And I'm sure I can come in if you want. I don't know your work schedule, but I can come in certainly on the weekend as well or after hours.
Okay, we can work that out. That's
Okay,
fine.
just give me a call.
Any other questions? Oh,
I think I sent out the required forms, and I think there's 3 required forms of certification. The budget itself is not in a spreadsheet format, it's a little different. And then there's another form, which is the sources of revenues, where you lay out the revenues anticipated and the expenses to show where the money's going to go. And I think I sent that out in the last email. If not, I will send it out in the week, the next 10 days. That will have to all be posted when we go through after the February meeting.
right. Okay, thank you, Highway Commissioner Young. And then we have Assessor Trowbridge.
Thank you. I just wanted to basically summarize what we're looking at in our budget is, or our portion of the general budget is that we're asking for a modest increase in our field personnel, and we're also asking for we're trying to make a slight offset in the IMRF line item. Overall, the budget differential is about just slightly under 2% greater than it was last year. We've had some of the expenses that we've incurred. We've got some variable expenses due to the fact that we've been in we've moved 5 times in 5.5 years. So some of the numbers don't look, for example, our computer figures are over last year, significantly over, and we're hoping we can dial that down. We're hoping by not moving our equipment quite as much, we're going to have less resulting damage and down time with that. We do have an increase in our salaries, the field persons, and that is due to the fact that we've hired two full-time people. We were down 2 people, and we were supplementing them with some part-time people. And one of the part-time people was a full-timer that retired and came back working under the guise of IMRF. They're limited to the number of hours that they can actually work. So what we've I saw that and saw that was working very well. And we actually went out and found some other retirees, and we're trying to bring them in. We've figured that we could save some money with that, and we've actually wound up. We hired a person part-time, and they wound up leaving. So we're restacking the office, and maybe to put this in perspective, when I came into office a long time ago, I inherited 15 full-time employees. When we replaced these last two individuals, we're now back. We're going to be back to 7 employees, which is less than half of which I started with. So that's kind of the long-winded explanation as to why the field persons or the salaries are going up. All the other line items are staying static. Maybe for explanation, we do have 10,000 for outside commercial appraiser. That's a number that we have in place if we need reports done. We've had that in the past. It's a necessary line item for us in case we run into those types of things. But we try very, very hard, and my staff and myself work very, very hard to keep those costs at a minimum. The same can be said with the legal fees for the assessor. It's a necessary line item for us. We do incur this on occasion, but we try very, very hard to avoid that at any particular time. The rest of the line items are, if you look at stabilizing them from the actuals from 2015 to 2021, they're all within a reasonable range. With that, I would be willing to answer any questions.
Am I missing the assessor's budget? Because is that in the packet? I'm trying to find it here to kind of go along with what John was saying. I don't see it.
It's actually involved because all of their numbers are involved with our town fund. It was the 1400s numbers.
Oh, so it's in the regular. Okay, I gotcha.
And if you have, I understand that you may not have been able to go through that with me right now. If you have any questions and you'd like to, if you have any questions, you can either give me a call, come into my office, or make an appointment, and I'd be happy to work with you or answer any kind of questions you may have with it.
That would be great. Thanks.
And his are right here. I put
Okay.
all of his numbers that he gave me from them, and that way you can see a longer perspective.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well then, thank you, Assessor Trowbridge. Next, we have the supervisor's budget, and we've been going over this. And what I did, I'll update the numbers that Ed just sent out today. I'll put his numbers in here. But when it comes to the expense side, we have I have a lovely multi-year expense side that we can all peruse, and that has been sent out to everybody. The really interesting, the pieces that are, as we went through line item by line item, trying to make sure that we could save as much money, be as efficient stewards as we possibly can, and do the most with less for the township. We were realizing when you come to the graphs, you can really see and just to note for anyone that sees these online, you really have to see these in Excel or numbers. I've been told numbers really comes up well as well. The graph just takes a moment to load. 1 second, it's coming. Chart. But this one in particular shows the totals. And it'll show you the percentages of how we're doing this as well in the next one. As soon as these come up, they're just super slow. With the Zoom, sometimes it just takes a bit of time. So we can see the percentage of the expenses The highway commission is the blue side. This is the green side is other services it's general assistance, primarily administration. This is in the supervisor's office as well. And then building funds, and then for funding for elected officials. And this one is just taking a while to come up. And then here is the rate of increase, so that people can see of the different subdivisions of the budget, how the changes are happening. One of the pieces to note in the supervisor's office has been from the, and this is in the supervisors, it's coming out weird in the Zoom. But the issue from the township perspective is right now we're putting $500,000 in the capital fund. We're proposing to do that because after the moldy building was taken down a few years ago, we've not replaced it with any other space. So we don't have a basement here, but we're really running out of office space, among other things, to do the things that we would like to be doing for the township. So we're putting money aside for that. And then also this was in, again, this keeps moving on me. With COVID coming in, there's been a whole lot of changes in the funding from the federal government and the funding from the state on a variety of different levels. So we've been adjusting to relate to that, understanding that we understand that there's been some changes in funding. We also understand that the way that we expect that we will likely add more money into this particular area because of the changes in funding. We're not entirely sure when some of the rent stabilities are going to end. There's a state program right now and a county program that we're expecting is continuing to do well in helping the community, which has meant less people that have come to us for help. And then when you see here, that's where the increase was if we had put $500,000 in the capital fund. And then the rate of compensation shows the changes in compensation for the elected people, and we can't change any of that. And so when it comes down to it, the budget, we've been going through literally line item by line item, making sure that we have the money that we need in each of the agenda items. Many of you have already spoken to me at length and have been along this process for the last 3 months. But does anybody have any other questions? And I'm more than free to schedule some more time and we can talk about that if you'd like as well.
Trustee Geist here. I do have a question about when you're looking at staff increases, is this performance based? Is this cost of living based? I mean, what is sort of the catalyst for determining increases in compensation?
That's a good question. So in the supervisor's office, we're really focused on making sure that we have a clearly defined policy for staff increases based on merit, based on the goals that we're reaching and that we're setting, because that's how I believe that staff increases need to be looked at. Also, the cost of inflation is a thing that happens, obviously, and the wage increases that need to be adjusted because of the cost of inflation and the adjustments that need to happen because of that. But really, goals being set and being met are going to be how the wage increases are going to be determined.
And I'm just curious, not to go backwards, but my mute function wasn't working before after we reviewed the highway commissioner's budget report. And also, John, I'm just curious, from just so I understand, are those increases also, are those performance-based, Ed? Or like, how do you determine, do you just go by cost of living increases? Is it that jobs are increasing? Like, I'm just trying to understand, because I know, typically we're looking at like 4% increases in sort of a corporate world. So I'm just trying to understand how it's working in our township capacity.
Yeah, for the road district, it's a multitude of things. One, it's inflation, also what the union contracts and the local municipalities are getting. But we like to factor into, your work ethic and your dedication to the township. It's all part of the evaluation process that we go through every year. We cross-train our people and how accepting they are of doing that. I mean, running some of the new equipment or the new equipment to that individual, I view as critical to our long-term success. We have to be able to have people that are basically trained and have the ability to function on any piece of equipment that we have.
Yeah, and you've done a fantastic job of that, by the way. I think that that's really the management of your team is very well done. The cross training, the fact that you have so much in-house talent and you can do you're so independent in some of the things that you can do. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I was just curious, having that background and understanding that things were very performance based and there were objectives attached. Like, I was just wondering if any of that was factored across the board for the township. That's all.
Okay. Well, I hope I've answered your question. And on top of that, let me stress too, that the competition's out there. As everybody knows, there's a lot of jobs that are going unfilled now, and they're going unfilled in all professions and all walks of life. In the union contracts, I closely watched the local 150 contract at Lisle and also Naperville and also Glen Ellen. And the ones in Naperville have gone up significantly. The last one they signed have significant rate increases there. And in order to maintain my staff, I think I have to be somewhat competitive with them.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate you explaining that.
I have a quick question, Commissioner. How could, amongst your employees, how competitive is their pay comparing to other townships in our area? Are they close, similar?
They're close. We're probably, I think we're probably higher just because we have more longevity in our staff than the others. Our pay rates, our starting pay rates are almost identical. But if you look, I mean, I think I have the most senior staff amongst all of the townships. So, I've got two guys with over 30 years of experience who basically know everything about road districts and townships that there is to know. I'm blessed in that. And then I have two guys that have 10 and 15 years. So it's a pretty senior staff. I've only got two. Well, I got a mechanic who's been with me, 5 years now. And if you look at the mechanics' wages, I mean, you look at the settlement after that strike that the mechanics had, and they got significant increases as well. But I think we're probably a little higher, probably just because of seniority.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, it sounds like every supervisor, the supervisor and the assessor and the highway commissioner are all very open to the public and to all the trustees coming to talk to us line item by item and figuring out what your questions are in order to make sure that we have the best planning financially for the township. Thank you, Highway Commissioner Young and Assessor Trowbridge. Okay, then next on the agenda is the approval of the December 8th meeting minutes.
Make a motion.
And,
Second.
Thank you.
I'd actually like to amend part of those minutes, if that's okay. In my comments, I wanted to amend, if that's okay.
Yes, what is your amendment?
My amendment is, I don't think my comment says very much, so I would like my amendment, my comment to say, we are working on the budget going line by line. Information, comma, in the form of charts, comma, to compare spending over the last 5 years would be helpful to visualize any trend.
Would you mind emailing me that?
I
please?
can do that, yes.
Thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, trustee Rose. Any other discussion on the December 8th?
Were the approval of the minutes on the agenda?
No,
I missed that. I apologize. We can, but I realized that we had 3 meetings that needed to be, to have our minutes approved.
Well, I think with the Open Meetings Act, you can't take any action on an item that wasn't on the agenda.
Actually, you can. I'm positive of that. So we can change and we can amend the agenda. It's when there's a special committee meeting that you can't amend the agenda. So
That's not my understanding of the Open Meetings Act.
we can, I can call in with my attorney if you wish. But we can also delay these if you wish to the next meeting. I'm fine with that.
Well, my understanding of the Open Meetings Act is that you can't take any action that was not published on the agenda. You can talk about things, but you can't vote on it.
We can, does anybody want to make a motion to delay these 3?
I'll make a motion to delay the approval of the meeting minutes to our next meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Geist, and thank you, trustee Page. Does anybody have any discussion about making this motion to delay the meetings to next month? Okay, then we'll have a roll call vote.
Trustee Geist,
Yes,
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee McGovern.
Yes.
Supervisor Hewitt,
Aye.
Trustee Rose, aye.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's like 4 things going on. Sorry.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to the update of the of the Youth and Family Services with the counselor report from Sarah, and I'm gonna put this on the screen.
So are these in the Google Drive now, so I could grab the numbers from those?
Right.
They are in there?
Yeah.
Okay,
They're in the packet information, so when
Okay. yeah,
click
I
on the
didn't see
packet
them prior.
information,
Got it.
they'll be there. And so there's a shorter month because of the holiday and the new year. So there was 11 counseling appointments, 49 support services, 60 people helped with the 4 job clubs facilitated, 35 members attending. There's a lot of community outreach done through Zoom with a variety of different pieces that have a community mental health perspective. There was a variety of community workshops, a whole lot of social media. Please check our Facebook page. And then we have the next one is the general assistance update. And I'm going to share my screen with that. One second, it's taking a moment to upload. And so we have the general assistance, 12 cases. Total people assistance granted, 7,735.84. And clothing is 50. Food and sundries, 2,287. Rent, 4,588. And 11 emergency assistance cases, or 12 cases in total. And then we have the counselor or the food pantry report. And the food pantry report is coming up. There were 1,531 individuals served, 521 households, 178 people under the age of 18, and 379 people under the age of 18. So the Lisle Township Food Pantry continues to serve quite a few families, which is always very laudable. Okay, then we have the approval of the audit. And we're going to, I think, have to delay this one as well. Does anybody want to take a motion to delay this until next month?
I'll make a motion to delay until next month.
I don't think you need a motion at all. I think the motion to delay the minutes is inappropriate too. You can't take any action for any votes for items not on the agenda.
That's why I just asked for a motion to delay the audit to next month.
You don't need a motion to delay. It's not there. You don't have to do anything.
Right. Okay. Does anybody have a report from an elected official? Like we'll start with a trustee Rose.
No report.
Trustee Page,
Nothing from me today.
trustee Geist,
We had a really successful non-perishable food drive that where my customers at the collective made donations, and so I thought that went really well. It's good to be able to use the space as a community conduit like that. So people are coming in and out to shop, they can make donations. So I thought that went really well. So thank you to the community.
Thank you,
Thank you
trustee.
to trustee Page and trustee Rose for picking all the goods up and delivering it to the pantry.
Thank you, trustee Geist. I'm sure you made the holidays a whole lot better. Trustee McGovern,
Tuesday tutoring with the township is the first and third Tuesdays of the month. The next Tuesday is the 18th from 5 to 6 in meeting room A on the main level in Lisle Library.
thank you, trustee
Yeah.
McGovern. That sounds like a fabulous program. Assessor Trowbridge
No report, thank you.
and Highway Commissioner Young.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The supervisor's office has been really focusing on a whole lot of changes that will make for efficiency. So the budget has been our primary focus of this last month. Aside from Christmas and the holidays, the township and the food pantry in particular had a variety of wonderful nonprofits and organizations, the Lisle Women's Club, the Lisle Police Department, a variety of different groups from all over the community. The Kiwanis help with the holidays, just really added a whole lot of gifts for the young people that needed extra help with gifts. And then there's a whole lot of extra turkeys and holiday fixings that came along this last month. So a huge thank you to the community that really helped to raise up a whole lot of people up in Lisle Township. So that's the main thank yous here, is the holidays really were made wonderful by the community. Thank you. Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, trustee McGovern. And
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Page. Any discussion? Okay, a roll call vote on that one.
Okay, I'm going to start with trustee Rose,
I,
to adjourn. Okay, trustee Rose, trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee McGovern,
Aye.
trustee Geist,
Aye.
Supervisor Hewitt.
Aye. We'll see you all next month.
Good night, all.
good
Not
night.
everybody happy New Year.